All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to start at 6:01 p.m. First, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to ask Commissioner Teddy Kahn to do the honor.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. So we're going to do a quick roll call. Commissioner Delagowski.
Present.
Okay, great. Commissioner Garcia.
Present.
Commissioner Grace.
Present.
Commissioner Haskins. Commissioner Johnson is present. Commissioner Kahn.
present.
Commissioner McCain.
Present.
And Commissioner Schmidt. Commissioner Schmidt. Okay, not here yet. And Commissioner Van Noort.
Present.
All right, great. Thank you, everyone. So, special presentations. Do we have any?
You have none. You have none. This is for item 2B.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to so we're going to approve the minutes. Anyone have any concerns?
You want to start with approving the
June
June 10th
10th,
minutes?
yes.
Okay, motion to approve. Second.
All right. I have all in favor. Say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions?
I abstain, I wasn't at that one.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Next up, 2B, we have Miss Amanda Quintanilla.
Hi, I think there was a misunderstanding for the July 22nd Beaches Parks and Recreation Commission special meeting for the agenda item 1. If I could just be added on there, Amanda Quintanilla. That's all I have. Thank you so much. Yes, I think it was agenda item 1 regarding the selection of the chairperson and vice chairperson, and I spoke in support of Chair Thor Johnson. And it could just be added on there, because it says, on the minutes, it says a person or a resident or something like that, without a name, so that could just be added on there. Thank you. I think that's it, if there's any other questions.
Do we have any?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Do we have any discussion on the matter for 2B for the July 22nd meeting? Any discussion? Well, I would like to make a motion to add that the resident who spoke was Amanda Quintanilla. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, great. So we'll just take a quick vote. And again, this is just to add Amanda Quintanilla as the speaker for that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or nays? All right, passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, so next up we have 2C. This is August 18th, BPR, special vote meeting minutes. Any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, second by Grace. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any abstentions or nays? All right, great, thank you. All right, do we have any oral communications?
Yes, you do. I'll collect those at the end.
Request that they come to the next item.
You want to go to
Great,
5A?
First up, we have
He's
Joe.
actually going to go to 5A, so I'll take that back.
Which one?
Joe, Mr. Wilson, thank you.
Sorry about that, guys.
So, first up, we have Amanda Quintanilla.
So I just have a quick PowerPoint presentation, and I just want to touch upon a little bit of the draft nature-based adaptation project feasibility study. There was a good turnout for public comments, and I was really glad of that. Next slide, please. Great. So the State Beach concept, this is the North Beach multi-benefit breakwater. And the State Beach concept is located 600 feet offshore as opposed to 900 feet at North Beach. This is fixed. The salient calculations and results in a salient with a longshore length of 2,520 feet, a maximum cross-shore width of 420 feet, and an area approximately up to 12 acres. And I'm sorry I didn't use quotes on that. Next slide, please. According to expert Chris Webb from Moffitt and Nichol, he explained what a breakwater is. He says that it sits off the beach and is oriented parallel to the shore, so the breakwater does it. It breaks the water completely. It breaks the waves, it knocks down the energy, and it creates this nice quiet spot on the beach behind in it or in its lee. And the sand is moving along the coast, being pushed and pulled and carried by the waves, and it gets into that shadow. It stops and it builds a beach. And beaches can form behind these breakwaters that are really nice. The thing about it is there's no surf behind it either, so you know you got to pick your poison on that one. So basically, behind that breakwater, there's nothing. It's just no surf, and that is a problem. The next slide is for the Capistrano Shore breakwater, and it's problematic because it is a private beach, and it's been that way for more than 5 decades, probably from the beginning. And in the feasibility study, some information was misrepresentative, such as that claiming that it has amenities such as a lifeguard, restrooms, and beach parking. And it also indicated in the report that the recreational benefits will justify the cost of the reef, which is over $60 million. Next slide, please. This is just a quick thing. The Capistrano Shores Mobile Park is barely mentioned in the 2018 LUP, and it's mentioned in the 1996 one under the private beach section. So I don't know how they thought it wasn't a private beach. Next slide. The draft nature-based feasibility study misrepresented some of the facts in the study for the State Beach, saying that our preliminary analysis of the State Beach indicates the increase in recreational value is likely to be quite low, given the limited access to the site. There's plenty of access on Calafia and in the park. And so, next slide, please. And these are just some of the marine life there by the next slide, by the Wheeler Reef, and that is really significant because they did not include that regarding their plans. Thank you.
All right, so next up we have Susan Ambrose.
Good evening, Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Commissioners. I have to tell you, I'm very excited to be here with you this evening, not only because you can get presentations like Amanda's, and if you haven't read anything about what Amanda talked about, this will innovate you and maybe inspire you to look at the things for the local coastal program, which are covering all of our coastal issues. So you can just jot a little note to yourself if you didn't have time now or before this meeting. It would be a good way for you to familiarize yourself with the kinds of things that have been done in the past 3 to 5 years and even 15 years ago. But the current things are going to be very valuable to you. And I want to thank those people because I've been the chair for Coastal Advisory several years, and I want to tell you that it's a wonderful thing to do. And I see all of you in past meetings here. You've been really inspired and to talk about and listen and to ask good questions. Those are things that I hope that you will, as commissioners right now, respect your fellow commissioners. That's so important to do. You may not like what he or she is saying, but just to hear it, to listen to it, and you can manufacture what you should be working with when you have subcommittees as well. And I'm not up here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you, all of you are here because you were voted in, and the City Council will know that you will do a great job. And I want to thank Brian Haskins for in his application, he said, yes, Susan, I'm doing my homework. Thank you so much, but that is so important for all of you, because if you have something that's coming to the table and you know it's coming to the table, please come prepared. Thank you very much, good luck, I know that you're going to be wonderful.
Okay, so next up, we have recreation activities update.
You have one more, that one I just gave you as your
Yeah,
last
thank you.
speaker on the side.
Last speaker, George Gregory.
Hello, George Gregory, North Beach, retired criminal. Anyways, rocks. Rocks are heavy. Rocks hurt when you drop them on your foot. Putting all those rocks as a break wall and stuff, you'd think somebody would get the intelligent idea of building a box out of the rocks that would protect the beach. Of course, there still would be no surf, but there'd be room for a little marina for marine safety. Something that we terribly lack. How are you going to protect the people at the Olympics on at Trussell's? You're not. Dana Point is. So, along with that comes youth sailing programs, fishing, charters, more fishing, aquaculture, education, not to mention when you take a surf break and you break it in two, you get 2 surf breaks. You round the corners of this new little harbor, you get 4 surf breaks. Now what if you built another rectangle off that and built an actual seawater wave machine? Now you'd have surf 24/7 in San Clemente. Cowabunga, dudes. So the thing is do you want to be begging, or do we want to be proactive in our lives and our beaches and parks and recreation? A harbor, a small marina, would create so much funds that you'd actually be able to pay the grants back. That would probably help you get the grants with the knowledge that they'll be paid back. And in the business and stuff that comes with harbors and marinas would help us purchase sand, hopefully at an affordable rate, supplied by rail, which makes absolute sense. Not to mention the dredgings from the new little harbor would replenish the beach also. They managed to last 40 years at Cabo Beach. And you gotta remember, we've been watching these beaches erode forever. We're never gonna fight the mighty Pacific. I can guarantee that, because I'm a captain. I've spent many a days and nights on that, and as long as it's blissfully beautiful, it's wonderful. But sometimes it's just downright terrifying. And if we don't protect our beaches, which it looks like the only way we're going to be able to protect them is with money and through hardening, how are we going to afford this hardening? How are we going to afford this sand? So the thing is, we go through life begging, or we can be proactive and we can be business people and provide all of these wonderful opportunities that would come with such a structure for our citizens, for our students, for retired fellows like me. So it's really a consideration. It's an abomination that doesn't get discussed. So
Thank you.
let's have a committee. Thank you.
Okay, so next up, recreation activities update.
Thank you. Okay, good evening, Commission. Samantha Weiland, the Beaches Parks and Recreation Director. I would like to share with you this evening an update on our recreation activities dating back to June. I will go through this quickly. I know we have a lot on our agenda this evening. We held our 2 Island Nights events at the Ole Mesa Beach Club, one in June and one in July, and we were pleased to partner with Nalu's and Hapa J's for food and beverage service at those events. We saw a really great turnout again, and it's really been fantastic to see families return to the beach club and enjoy a sunset evening and time in the pool as well. We followed our first Island Nights with the 4th of July with the fireworks at the end of the pier, as well as the Stars and Stripes event held at Linda Lane. Great turnout at Linda Lane. The location was really terrific for the community to access both the beach, the park area. We received really good feedback from the residents within the Linda Lane area, and families enjoyed that space for its spaciousness and just the great family value it added to that area for the day. We also then kicked off our beach concert series with Tunnel Vision. We went into Kelly Boys, then we had another one, Wigs and Ties at Linda Lane. We had Family Style at the beach. We had the Whelan Brothers closed us out for the summer at the beginning of August. And we saw anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000 people at our concerts this year. So great turnout all in all. And I would like to summarize our events that are coming up in case you haven't had enough fun. We are going to continue through the fall. We've got the Sunset Symphony is actually this Thursday at the Ole Hansen Beach Club lawn. And this is a free concert. It's the Pacific Symphony. And it starts at 6 p.m. It goes for about 90 minutes or so, or 60 to 90 minutes. You can enjoy a beautiful symphony with the San Clemente Sunset. The Picnic Cafe is providing food for purchase on site. They're a relatively new restaurant on Del Mar. And that's again at the Beach Club. You are encouraged to come early. The lawn does fill up and low back chairs are required. No tall chairs that would block a view. September 20th is our annual SE Open Skate Contest. And this is open to all ages, from as young as 1 year old all the way up to 17. This is a partnered event with our friends of San Clemente Beaches Parks and Recreation Foundation. We've got a number of great sponsors, local businesses that have sponsored this year as well. Then we'll move into Red Ribbon Week. Will be in October. We have Monster Dash at the end of October as well. Sign-ups are all available for these right now. And we want to encourage everybody to save the date as well for Dia de los Muertos, which will be November 1st at Maxbury Plaza Park, followed by Doggy Dive on November 22nd, the only day we allow dogs in the pool before we drain it for maintenance. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take questions if there are any.
All right, thank you, Director. Keep up the great work. Next up, 5A. Are there any speakers?
You don't have speakers, do you? Oh, you do have speakers, sorry. Do you want a staff presentation or do you want your speakers first?
We'll do the presentation first.
Okay. My presentation is very, very brief. I think the Commission understands the goal of the work plan. What we do this evening is discuss those items that you want to pull forward into the formal recommendation to Council. As we've discussed at a previous meeting, you want to make sure that the Commission is looking at work plan items that can hopefully be checked off our list in the coming year, where they have some kind of light in the near future, even if that's a couple years from now. Items that are considered and approved by the majority of the Commission body would be added to a work plan packet that would be then sent to Council, and the Chair would need to be available for that Council meeting for the presentation. At our last meeting, we requested commissioners to provide items that they felt were important, and so you're seeing kind of a grouped list by topic mostly. To the best of our ability, we tried to assemble like items. And you'll notice the commissioner who requested the item to be considered, their last name is adjacent to the item at the end of their each section. So I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. There's also the staff proposed items that are currently funded projects that the Commission will also review.
All right, Mr. Edward Kweskin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would postulate, I don't want to cast aspersions on this process, but I was involved in this process. I find it to be a lot of eyewash. And I'll tell you why. Because we have these lists of things that we allegedly want to do, but there is no budget. And if there's no budget or no budget value, then it goes to the City Council, and I don't know what they do with it, to be exactly factual about it. I do have a little bit of a show and tell, and I'll try to squeeze it in here. There's several documents that the Commission, based on my recent experience and then my prior experience 30 years ago, should be aware of and maybe include in some sort of work plan that doesn't involve necessarily any cost. First of all, there's a number of studies available for our beach, from our beach consideration, one of which just came out, which is the sea level rise guidance from the state of California. There are a number of those that are important that we watch and listen to. Secondly, have any of you seen the budget, by the way? This is the general plan, which has two elements in it, which are both coastal and the Parks and Recreation element in the general plan. I'm sure none of you have ever been made aware of that for whatever reason. So we did try to do that. Commissioner Khan and I basically were a subcommittee, and we tried to refer that to it, as well as the strategic implementation plan, which you also should be aware of, because about 80% of that document has to do with Parks and Recreation, and that is a state mandated document. So the state comes down and makes sure that the city is implementing the elements of the general plan through that strategic implementation plan. I have a copy of the budget here. It's a big binder. Unfortunately, you cannot get a hard copy of it. It's only published to the city council. It costs about $80 to get a hard copy, and I strongly recommend at least maybe once available for everybody to look at. Finally, I went and contacted finance and provided to you a recap through the end of the year. And you have a copy of that. Your BB&R has a budget of about $22 million, just to let you know. That's just maintenance on the maintenance side, and it's run all through Public Works. Anytime you want to have a staff do anything, there's one staff person, which is Samantha, and the other staff person, which is Debbie. That's it. Everything else is in Public Works. And as far as I can tell, Public Works isn't responsible to anybody but the city manager and the city engineer. So I guess what I'm trying to say is take these documents, make sure that you have them, make reference to them. Teddy worked with me, and we worked together on that committee, and I would suggest that you base any decisions on those documents. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Amanda Quintanilla.
So when I looked at the agenda item, I was concerned regarding the BPNR Commission work plan, and certain things that stood out. I reached out to Ms. Meyerhoff, who's our coastal advisor, and she had stated that Coastal Frontiers conducts a shoreline monitoring program in the city each spring and fall, and they are conducting the offshore sand source investigation too. Moffitt and Nichol is leading the effort to develop the nature-based sand retention structure feasibility study. The study will be completed before the end of the year for the terms of the Coastal Commission grant. And as far as the nature-based adaptation visibility or project visibility study, that is just a receive and file that's going to go to the California Coastal Commission, and there's nothing to be done with that. So I was just wondering what Commissioner Schmidt was referring to, and unfortunately he's not here today. Also, he had mentioned something about there was a question regarding the sand management plan, and Ms. Meyerhoff says, I believe the sand management plan is what we also call our shoreline management plan, which includes restoring the beach by adding sand and implementing structures to keep it in place for as long as possible to optimize the cost effectiveness and longevity of beach and sand replenishment projects over the long term. So that is being done by the city. So I was just wondering, he's not here to explain, so I just want to let you know. But over the weekend, I received an email regarding, or actually it was on Monday, regarding the North Beach Community Association wanting a voice and to be included in the city's work plan and I agree with former Commissioner Queskin in that there's no budget. I am the only one who has brought up at the budget meetings concerns regarding the budget, some of the plans that should not have been included in the capital improvement projects. I pointed out mistakes in the graphs, charts, and tables, and they had to be modified accordingly. So there is no budget for that. I understand that we all need a voice, but I just don't understand why it needs to be incorporated in the work plan. If there is a plan that they want to work on, then they can present that to the Beaches, Parks and Recreation Commission as a needed basis. However, I think that, they need a voice. However, I have to ask, where have they been with submitting the nature-based coastal resiliency feasibility study public comments, or any other OCTA coastal rail resiliency study, or anything like that? So they've been non-existent on that. I have supported the North Beach Community Association in the past, but for private security at North Beach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Joe Wilson.
Good evening, everyone. I hope this doesn't come out of left field. I thought I might go after the presentations tonight on the plans, but just what I'd like to recommend. I'm with Save Our Beaches, and I think, as you know, we're quite active in trying to get sand back on the beaches, and I'd like to focus just real quickly on North Beach and the opportunities that we see there. You all know that recently the railway repaired the revetment there, and a big part of that master plan for the beach there, North Beach all the way down to Mariposa, is to replenish a lot of sand there, not just on a one-time basis, but to continue to put some more sand there. What we saw during that project was the use of a small area at the top of the north end of the trail, utilized by the trucks and heavy equipment to cross the tracks, get down on the beach, temporarily move more rocks around and be able to work, as well as dump the sand there. A lot of us have talked on Save Our Beaches and other groups about the possibility of, and this is my specific request to you, is to consider working with OCTA to discuss the feasibility of a really simple crossing, a permanent crossing there that could be utilized at that spot for future replenishments, repairs, and so forth. A very simple way that heavy equipment could actually come right at the end of your parking lot in North Beach, go across, and maintain that North Beach, which is really under your purvey, trying to preserve that beach and recreation related to it. Simple request, please kind of put that in the back of your minds to think about how can we make that permanent, because these sand replenishments are not one-time things. In the coming decades, we're going to need to drop sand there, and it's by far the best place because sand typically migrates out of that area south. We've already seen that this year and other times. Let's talk about that. Please put it on your back here, and hopefully it's something we could act on. Thank you for your respect on this.
Next up, we have Chris Butler.
I'm going to read from the paper. Good evening, Chair Johnson, Commissioners, and staff. My name is Christopher Butler, and I serve as President of the North Beach Community Association. First, thank you for considering North Beach in this year's work plan. The NBC already has a strong history of partnership with the city, with council, staff, and this commission. Together we've achieved outcomes that benefit not just North Beach, but all of San Clemente. Examples include prioritizing public safety with the establishment of private security in North Beach and San Clemente, evolving into an expanded Ranger program and a strong OCSD presence, the city's ongoing sand replenishment efforts that we partner with Save Our Beaches on, and the repatriation of the Ole Hanson Beach Club back to its intended purpose as a true community center and park for the residents in 2026. For more than a decade, NBCA has kept the spotlight on North Beach as the gateway to our city. Revitalization and beautification here are paramount, not only to restore North Beach to the gem it once was, but also to attract tourists and visitors from neighboring cities. This in turn supports our existing businesses, helps new ones thrive, and generates the foot, car, and transit traffic that sustains a vibrant local economy. Our goals for the coming year are to place more sand on our beaches, at least 50,000 cubic yards annually at North Beach, supported by a sustainable nourishment plan and funding strategy. Make North Beach beautiful, clean up deferred maintenance, pressure washing, planting, trimming, and ensuring consistent upkeep. Strengthening support for North Beach small businesses by working together on strategies that boost daytime foot traffic and activity and bring more customers to our shops, restaurants, and services. Build up, utilize, and celebrate city parks and facilities for community and business building events that strengthen neighborhood and cross-city ties. elevate the perception and presence of North Beach beaches and family-friendly destinations where residents and visitors alike want to gather, recreate, and relax, and continue to support public safety efforts by the City and Parks Department, utilizing park rangers and OCSD to keep North Beach safe and welcoming. NBCA plays a unique role in making these goals possible. Through regular town halls and events, we gather community input, and our board, with expertise in public safety, business development, environmental, and engagement, translates that into actionable plans, often with budgets and timelines attached. This lightens the load for city staff and helps move ideas into reality. We also have a long track record of creating revenue-generating events that can further support beaches, parks, and recreation initiatives. I should also note that I hope more board members will be here due to late notice. We weren't able to get everybody here, but hopefully you received some letters on that. And so this is why I respectfully ask you to do 3 things in adopting this work plan. Include North Beach as a priority focus area for beautification, recreation, and community investment. Establish a subcommittee and formally partner with North Beach Community Association and other community groups so we can continue working side by side with the city on long-term sustainable improvement for North Beach and for San Clemente as a whole, and make sand replenishment and beach nourishment a continued priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Susie Whitelaw.
Thank you, Commissioners. I really appreciate all the hard work that you do for our town and for our beaches. Reading through the comments on the proposals for the work plan, what I'm seeing is that you all realize that there's an overarching question that we still don't have a really good handle on, and that's how much sand we really need on our beaches. The sand management plan that the city currently has is based on a somewhat arbitrary beach width to protect the infrastructure, and then just a general rule of thumb for how much sand it would take to achieve that width. I first agree with Commissioner Van North that we shouldn't necessarily peg that width just to an arbitrary number that was produced for San Diego, but historical beach widths might be a better goal. Putting out too much sand beyond what Mother Nature really wants and beyond where Mother Nature wants it to be could be just sending more sand offshore. Furthermore, just using beach width as your sole metric suggests that sand is going to stay where it's placed and that width is going to stay there. And that's absolutely not happening. Of course, we see that the sand is moving around up and down our coastline. We also had a really dramatic decrease in beach height that can't be ignored, and it could be just as important as the beach width. So you take width and height as both being important, and that gives you volume, which probably is a more useful metric. And agreeing to Commissioner Schmidt, who suggested that we develop a sand budget. And the sand budget is based on volume instead of just height and width. So I would recommend maybe setting up a few reaches along our shoreline, and those have already been defined in the shoreline protection study by the Army Corps of Engineers. Would probably be good to use those same reaches. Look at the volumetric changes from one reach to the next through time. We can see by the color of the sand that the sand from the federal project has moved all the way down to Cottons, and it has not left San Clemente. There is nothing down around San Mateo Creek. The sand from North Beach moved really rapidly down to Mariposa, and it has since moved down. If you go to Linda Lane, you're going to see that lighter colored sand on the surf zone, and the brown sand from the federal project is still in the back shore. And that lighter colored sand from Santa Ana River, it's moving all the way down towards the pier now. Just in the surf zone, the brown sand is still maintained on the berm. So what we need to do then is track that. This is kind of just observational studies. We need to track how the sand from those replenishments, where it's moved to, how rapidly it moved, and what volume is moving. We have a twice yearly shoreline monitoring, and that's really not enough. We need more detail on that, and we need to find probably some more cost-effective means of doing shorter time frames on that. Beyond the quantity of sand, we also need to look at the quality, both grain size and color. I appreciate the Commission taking that on.
Thank you so much. All right. So, any discussion, fellow commissioners?
So, Director Wiley, how many funded projects do we already have on the work plan for 2025-2026?
You have 2, 4, 6 currently.
Okay, so we currently have 6 funded.
Actually, sorry, 5.
Okay.
Yes, there's 5. And that's on the second page of the staff report.
Okay, oh, there we go, thank you.
Chair, can I make a comment?
Of course.
With this sort of long list of possibilities for the work plan, I just wanted to emphasize one that probably doesn't get a lot of attention, and that's the partnership between the city and the San Clemente Aquatics team. And unless you're on the pool deck seeing what they do, you probably don't notice it, but the impact of that adds a lot of value to not only the kids in the program, but also the city, because those kids grow up to be lifeguards and junior lifeguards.
Yeah, so I think right now we're still on 5A.
Uh-huh.
Are you referring to the 6A?
You were discussing the work plan?
We're reviewing, yeah, it's on the work plan, we're reviewing actually the policy that we have been working on this past year next.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry.
That one's, no, totally fine. It's right after this one. We
Okay.
agree about the importance, but yes.
Apologies.
No, all good.
You're good. So we'll save it for 6A. I have a question for the director. Director, do you feel that, just one moment, please. That 2 and 3 are similar and can be, 2 and 1, and they can be combined?
As a whole, like those groupings. So I do think they're different. Water quality and beach, sand, and shoreline management are different areas. And I would look to my coastal experts on the commission to confirm that, but those are distinctly different topics. Yes, they kind of circle around each other, but I do believe they're different focus areas. Do you commissioners have a opinion on that?
Yeah, they're pretty different, yeah.
So, as a follow-up question to that, as the BPR commission, because I'm new to this, right, new having the coastal advisory, how much do we have say in, control of, like in adding these things to a work plan, how much are we feasibly able to do as a BPR commission? Just make recommendations to council, work with the SANSAR, like how does that work? How would that?
Yeah, I think when you're looking at your work plan, you have to remind yourselves that as a commission, you are recommending policies, in best practices, if you will, to the city council, or design, things like that. You're making recommendations that could further inform how we do things in the future. If council is the policy-making body, you as a commission are tasked with developing some of those policies in draft form and formalizing that recommendation to council. So when it comes to beach, sand, and shoreline and water quality initiatives, that is why the council appointed individuals who have expertise and background. So staff would defer to those experts, and they're very much qualified to give their opinions and feedback on what they think is feasible for this coming year. I would say that in my experience, and many of you would know this, these work plan items are typically going to get checked off by forming subcommittees. So I think as a commission body, you really want to lean into the skill and experts that you have on your group to find out what is really feasible to accomplish over the next year.
So I have a question then for my fellow Commissioner Van Noort. If you could let us know an example. So if we were to establish a clear long-term beach sand policy outlining replenishment goals in a subcommittee, what might that look like?
So I think it's similar to what the public speaker was talking about, in that when you look at a lot of our we have tons of projects to go find sand, we have tons of projects to go figure out how to get it funded, to locate where it might be. And generally, I would say the approach has been is more sand the better, which I think in the past few years, I think we would all agree that we just need sand. If you look long term, I think we're getting ready to spend a lot of money on sand. It's really expensive. It requires funding from us. It requires funding from other places. It requires finding new sources. As far away as British Columbia. And when I go and review all the documents, I see things like, taking into account different beach widths of 50 to 250 feet. And if we were to think, okay, well, 250 feet sounds great. That's a fantastic beach. I'm all for that. I don't think anywhere along our coast we have ever had a 250-foot wide beach. So, if we decide, then the city decides, hey, we want a 250-foot wide beach everywhere. Great, let's put it down and realize what we're signing ourselves up for. Whereas if we look at historical averages and sort of where the beach has naturally been, and we try to have that goal, that's going to be a completely different goal. So, my thoughts for this is, what do we actually want our beaches to look like in 50 or 100 years or whatever? And let's figure out how much sand we're actually going to need. Let's figure out where we're going to need to dump it. The sand, what has clearly happened last year, the sand moves really quickly. It moves all over the place. Maybe we don't need to move it up and down the coast. Maybe we can just dump it at the pier. Maybe we can just dump it at North Beach. That's much cheaper than figuring out how to transport it all over the place. And so understanding just some basic goals on, do we want to build giant new beaches that never existed before? Great, let's understand what that is. Or do we just want to get it to historical averages? That would be like the most basic goal of what this would be, is a plan that the city council can take up and decide, yes, this is our goal going forward. And then studies and plans and budgeting can all work towards that goal instead of just the sort of amorphous goal right now of more sand.
Could you potentially see B through E being umbrellaed under the establishment of a long-term beach plan? Is that something?
B through E, also all of them?
But potentially, or some of them, or...
Yeah, I mean...
when you're thinking about subcommittees, right, or the items that we're going to put on, okay, or talk about putting on, if we talk about establishing a clear long-term beach sand policy, could the subcommittee that's created...
We could definitely have some of these things at some points. I will say, from working on the Coastal Advisory Committee for a year, there's a lot going on. Things are changing rapidly, and to get, even the simplest, the lowest hanging fruit of things that seem like they should be easy is a lot of work, because we want a lot of input and need to involve a lot of people. So I think it's possible as some of those as bullet points. I don't want to say that, yeah, no problem, we can do everything, because I just don't think that would be realistic.
Right. Because, of course, we want to hit realistic things. Like, we didn't accomplish too much of our work plan last year.
Yep.
So I'm definitely interested in narrowing it down and making sure that what we add this year does get done and does get completed.
Yeah, and I think the other nice thing is some of these things that I think the city is already pushing forward. So, like the advancing the shore feasibility study and the management plans, the city's doing those anyway, so it's great for us to have input and be able to work, but those are also moving faster than these meetings
every other month. Okay.
So is our goal today to focus down this list? And,
yeah.
And do we have a goal of how many of these individual goals we want under each category, or a total number we're shooting for?
Right, so we already have 5 on the list for 2025, 2026.
And where are the 5 that are already listed?
So second page, under number 4, the staff proposed items included. So those things are already funded. So 1 through 4, and then all of those ABCs, those are all things that have been recommended. But yes, what we're planning to do is, as Director Wiley said, finalize what it is we want to give to council to approve, and then next meeting, if it's been approved, we create subcommittees and go forward from there.
All right, thank you. Yes?
I'm just acknowledging that I understand what he's saying.
So I think this is a great list that we contributed to. and it appears that the staff proposed items are actually spread throughout 1 through 4, is that correct? Director?
No, none of the items within the 1 through 4 list are staff suggestions. Some of them may overlap in some
Okay.
circumstances.
Okay, so,
Like 3B, for instance, is a cost of services. 3A, some of those do overlap.
okay, great. So, maybe we could, recommend that that we send these 4 items to city council in addition to the staff proposed items.
Well, it's not just 4 items though. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They're just grouped by subject.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Those are individual.
Yeah, those are all individual ones, so we need to go through and decide individually which ones. As I was asking,
Is it possible though to group them? You know, like for example,
well,
like
that's
B3,
what I just asked him. Because if we, I think we can start by making maybe a motion for at least one for under the beach sand and shoreline management to establish a clear long-term beach sand policy. Maybe kind of end it right there, keep it, I don't know how big or whatever you want to do it.
Are we able, if we make killer progress and we're done in 2 months, can we expand work plan items? Has that ever been done before? Am I just like
Geez, yeah.
up in the clouds?
I like the spirit, I don't want to kill the spirit and the momentum. So I'd like to say yes. It's never been done before though.
Okay.
So you could look to potentially amend the work plan, and that would be really impressive. And I think you guys are impressive, so.
That's a great goal. That's a great goal.
So I would suggest going through them all before we make a motion, just to, like Samantha says, like 3A, it's already pretty much a duplicate of
Right.
what's already done there. Maybe we get rid of
So
what we don't need, and then look at the ones that may be brand new, and then make a motion to.
So
propose.
piggybacking off of that, I have marked off 1B, because the city's already doing that one, right? The advancement shoreline.
Do we all agree when
Okay.
that 1B can be marked off? I mean, I think as long as everybody is in agreement with what can be.
Oh, yeah, I'm just talking about my notes. And then,
So 3B,
so 1B, the city, right? Am I, the city's.
That's my understanding, so
Okay.
I don't want to say too much, but that's
You guys
fine.
are our expert.
Well, I'd also be interested in hearing from Commissioner Haskins about the last one, specifically what you had in mind there to make sure that we're not, to make sure that we're covering that, or if that can be folded into one of the other ones.
My general idea was that we make a motion to include all the staff proposed items, and then add some, objectives that we can reasonably accomplish. And I was just mentioning one that was sort of a bite-sized project that could be quickly accomplished and pushed forward, and I was just sort of kind of lobbying for that because of the value that it adds to the city in some sort of indirect ways too. And that if we could just streamline that aquatics partnership, and there's a couple of little strict barriers in there for approval and implementation. If we could remove those barriers, then that would be, 3C would just be a real.
I'm sorry, I'm referring to 1E, just focusing on the sand and beach ones.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my concept on that is that the beach replenishment, I've been following this for 10 years because I was on coastal advisory, is that the beach replenishment piece is very robust, and lots of people are working on it, and we've got a lot of input. And the piece that seems to be a little bit needing improvement is the retention. Throwing all that sand on the beach, and then there's a couple little things that have been mentioned along the way to retain that sand that really haven't been pursued. So that's why I just wanted that topic on there. There's some talk about permeable barriers like pilings underneath the pier that could easily save lifeguard headquarters. And it's been mentioned, but it hasn't really been pursued. So perhaps the subcommittee could look at that and see, is it reasonable, and is that something we should push forward, or is there sort of a reason that hasn't been looked at? So that was why I threw that in there as something to consider to add to the work plan.
The city's consultants are looking at those various alternatives, and they have a budget and a schedule, so they are making progress. And our experience has been that it's difficult to work with them. It's sort of in a cooperative manner while they're doing their studies, because they're a whole separate funded organization, and we're not directly linked up with them. So we have tried coordinating with them in the past, and I have to say it's a little bit difficult to get real-time data. We get it, in the form of periodic reports, and then that's a good opportunity to provide feedback at that point. But in terms of providing technical analysis or support on those topics while they're doing it at the same time, it's difficult, in my opinion.
I understand.
Would you agree with that, Dee?
Yeah.
Okay, I would, based on.
I totally agree with the concept, but from a reality standpoint, I think we could perhaps
Do you mind if
offer our help to them, but they are true experts in the field, and we are coming up to speed, technical people, so they're ahead of us already by quite a bit.
Do you mind if I summarize to make sure I understand as a new person for this? Is it my understanding that it would better serve this commission to focus more on the policy surrounding some sort of sand beach versus trying to duplicate efforts? I want to make sure whatever we do choose to put on our work plan isn't duplicating efforts, but supporting those efforts in some way.
Right. Yeah, along these lines, I think it would be really helpful if we could get an update on what's going on in the outside studies, and anything pertaining to beach replenishment, coastal resiliency. If Leslie or somebody else could give us a update each time we meet, and because we've learned that there's a lot going on that you may not necessarily be aware of, and it's difficult to get updates on that stuff outside of these formal meetings.
Is that something that a subcommittee could potentially do? Like, we have a subcommittee that, let's say we vote to establish a clear long-term beach sand policy, period. Mm-hmm. And then once council approves that, approves the overall work plan, then we appoint the subcommittee, and then the subcommittee is also responsible for keeping up with those updates or whatnot. Would that be reasonable? I don't know.
I think our experience is that there's a lot going on, and the people who are primarily involved in that are the city council members,
right.
Leslie Meyerhoff, the city's consultants.
Well, maybe the subcommittee creating this plan could be meeting by, weekly, bi-monthly, in order to kind of keep on track, and then at our meetings, provide an update overall.
Yeah. I think that, Leslie was giving us updates in the Coastal Advisory Committee previously on a fairly frequent basis, and just pretty focused down, but she would be the best person who knows everything that's going on. We would have to get the information from her, but it was difficult for us to meet with her because since she's paid on an hourly basis, the city was somewhat reticent to have us spend a lot of her time. Okay. So it's actually more efficient for her to get an update.
If I can say, I think what Vice Chair Garcia is referring to is part of the work plan process is if the commission says it's really important as a body, we have an established subcommittee that has a regular interface with Leslie. That can be part of your work plan item that you designate whomever that is, and then council has the opportunity to approve that, and hypothetically they do approve that. That then allows that kind of barrier to come down, if you will, that you do have a little bit more free access to engage with her as a subcommittee. And there might be times, and again, this is just all hypothetical how it could play out, the subcommittee could meet with her, and you all could come together and say, this is a really important update that the whole body should hear. Let's get it on the agenda for an upcoming meeting. But what I'm hearing is there's been some past concerns about access to her, essentially. And she has a wealth of knowledge, and she is really behind a lot of the projects moving forward. So I think that's what you're saying, Shauna. And I think this is the time to say, council, do we get your approval to have those meetings with her and then invite her to commission meetings to give a presentation to the whole group, or even potentially items that would get to council eventually. That's the goal for tonight.
That'd be great.
And so then real quickly, Director Wiley, should we motion to have these 5 already funded programs, and then, so we have that done, and then add on each one individually through discussion, or do it all at once?
Yeah, so that's up to the body of the commission. I do think if you want to try to eat the elephant one bite at a time, take off, you can do a vote on the ones that you know are good to go forward.
Okay.
And then try to finesse the other ones. It sounds like the items 1 and A through E, and item 2, A through A and B are kind of the ones that are hanging out that need to be narrowed down a little.
Yeah. Okay.
And also 4, sorry, you need to look at 4.
Commissioners, are you good with that if we just, okay. So I motion to add the staff proposed items that are already funded for the 2025-2026 BPR Commission work plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a quick question. So that means we're done reviewing these?
No, we're just, that's there.
Section.
Yeah, we're done there.
Okay, for the first section?
Yeah.
For number
No,
1?
for the ones that are already funded.
Staff proposed items.
Got it.
Those ones at the bottom.
Thank you.
We still have to discuss.
Okay, great, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstain or nay? Okay, passes anonymously. Okay, great, so who wants to start? Commissioner Van Noort, can we get your recommendations on what ones to adopt from number 1?
So I would recommend just sticking with 1A. My opinion is 1A is a good one, and I think it is important given the amount of money and the different issues coming before the city in the coming year or two. And if we make great progress, and I think it'll naturally include some of the things below. And if we make great progress on it, we finish it in 6 months, we'll set precedent and expand our work plan.
Love that.
Perfect. Any questions for Commissioner? Okay, so.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do we need to write anything in there, Samantha, to make sure that we can get access to the experts? Like, do we need to reword it?
Yeah, part of that, I will work with the chair and vice chair, but if the sentiment, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you do want to work with the coastal administrator on this, so that can be incorporated into the work plan description. That's the.
Would that be a good idea, do you think? For us to work with, Leslie?
That will be up to the commission. I can tell you, my expertise is not this, so I will not be helpful in this area as much as I want to support you guys. It's not my expertise.
So would we amend this to say work with the
City staff.
City staff, yeah, and then we can go from there.
Okay, so if the work plan item then is to work with the city staff to establish a clear long-term?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
You want to make that motion?
sure. Move to adopt a work plan item that is work with city staff to establish a clear long-term beach sand policy and outlining replenishment goals.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain or nay? Passes anonymously. Okay, I'd like to recommend that we combine 2A and 2B and adopt that.
How would that sound? What would you have that be? How would you word that? I know he's not here, so that's hard. Yeah. Can one of you speak to this, or what is this like on coastal advisory?
John, that was yours. Do you want to talk to that?
Well, I believe that item 2B, to deliver annual reporting and outreach programs, this is something that the city's already required to do by law, and that they submit a kind of a detailed pamphlet every year, so I don't believe we would be adding much in that regard.
Okay, so,
And then the first one, expanding public education and outreach, that's a pretty broad topic in my opinion. I'm not quite sure
And I'd get into
what area we would add to, quite honestly, but it's,
well, do we have any commissioners who are in support of adding 2A? If not, we can move on to,
The county already publishes its water monitoring data, so I'm not sure what more value we could add to the public.
yeah. I mean, rather than select like 2A or 2B, I would actually be in favor of 1D in terms of setting the beach monitoring program, similar to some of the issues that Susie had brought up. I think there is a beach monitoring program in place, but I think it could be made better, and I don't know how long it's funded for. I think another, 2 years, I believe, something like that. But I think that would be another area in which it is focused enough that we could provide some actual benefit, but yet not so big that we couldn't accomplish something.
Is that something that could be kind of, like I said, umbrellaed under the clear long-term beach sand? Like if you're making a sand policy, a long-term sand policy, could you include monitoring, comprehensive beach monitoring program as part of that long-term plan?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly argue that it's a subset of that. But
Well, he's going to finish it in 6 months.
It's a lot of them. Both of them are big topics.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
so, maybe move on to 3A. Is 1B covered and first one? Okay, great. So it looks like 3B and C are already included in the staff proposed items. So I would like to move that we adopt 3A.
How is 3A different from?
I think 3A is a little bit in there too.
It is.
So I think that whole section is already covered.
Missing anything that?
3C.
Yeah.
3C, so we're reviewing the updated policy next.
So the
Carrie's here to talk on it.
The design concepts for the new facilities and the meadow and the dog park, I think, there's one in here for one new dog park, so this one had some additional ones in there, but.
Okay, so it's already covered under staff proposal.
Yeah, I think that's enough to bite off for this year, for what the staff report is.
Okay, good.
So we can I'm okay with taking A off, you guys.
Okay. And B and C are covered?
Yes, those are.
Right.
If I can clarify for Commissioner Haskins, if something is not flushed out this evening and item 6A is not voted on, or maybe it's requested to be brought back, it will be brought back. It's not just gonna go away. We're gonna see it through to the finish line. I hope that helps you, Brian, understand where we're at with that. I'm not gonna let it slip off.
Are you saying that the aquatic partnership is part of the fee study? Where is it included in part of the?
It was in last year's work plan, so we're actually reviewing the updated policy tonight after this.
And it continues on the agenda until we feel like it's ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so it will continue to be part of the work plan.
Yes, you're gonna hear the item that you're gonna hear specifically about that policy update tonight, and depending on where the commission goes with it, it will get to council at some point, even if it has to come back for another meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So I would like to recommend that we combine 4A and B into one, and then also adopt 4C separately.
Okay, how would you word that? Or, Jenny, do you want to, how would you word a combination? These are your points.
Say that again?
How would you word a combination, or can you see 4A and B combined?
So I think they're distinct. 4A, I think is the reason to do that is pretty self-evident. We we had a lot of public comment for that. 4B, I'd like to see that beyond North Beach. And in terms of funding, this is something that I think the community could really get behind. We have sponsorships, sponsor public art installations in our parks, leverage the talent from our local schools and community.
So keep them separate.
Keep them separate. And I also have a separate question. Do we need to establish a subcommittee if that's the goal into the work plan, or can we do that?
We can't do that until the work plan's approved,
Okay.
right?
Can we say?
If your intention is to put a subcommittee together, that's helpful for the council to know. I do want to note that on 4B, we do have an arts and culture committee that specifically looks at art in public places. So if that's going to be something the commission is going to also consider, I just want to ensure we're not duplicating efforts between city bodies, so there potentially needs to be some cross-collaboration.
We change it to coordinate with that committee to get some art.
Sure. If that's what the commission wants.
So I'll make a motion first for 4A.
I have a question for you.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when it says strengthen partnerships with community organizations such as North Beach Community Organization, does that also, could that also include any organizations like at the south end of town or somewhere else? I mean,
Like SCBA or
because
a nonprofit?
I mean, the Olympics are coming,
Yeah.
and that south end needs some attention. So would this only be for North Beach, or would this be other areas that may come?
Absolutely, could be for other areas. And I would like to specifically mention North Beach, because there's already an organization there that's willing and able to help enhance the area.
Do we know of any other community organizations in the south end that we could, I mean, just, if we adopt this, I would like to maybe expand on it and see if we could give some assistance to them if they exist.
I'm not aware of any, but I think we should definitely leave the door open if any do come.
I have a question as well, is about how you envision this Commissioner Khan, and I'm wondering if it's similar to Commissioner Grace's position as a commissioner that represents on the Pure Pride group. You know, is it, when you're looking at strengthening partnerships, are you looking to establish some sort of a policy? Are you looking to, I'm looking for some sort of measurable goal that we can say that we've attained it. Are you looking for some sort of written agreement or regular interactions, a certain, not for lack of a better word, a quota of certain things that we've partnershiped on, you know? Or are you looking for a commissioner to go to events to feed in? I just think I need a little bit of specificity about what we want to achieve.
Sure. I think something very substantive, something similar to how we attach a commissioner to Pure Pride. I think that's a good idea. And it's, right now is a very exciting time for North Beach. You know, we have the Miramar Food Hall coming to completion. We have the wedding vendor leaving the Old Hanson Beach Club in 2026. We have a vacant lot there, which can be activated for community events and fundraisers. And of course, we also have the Olympics coming, and that's the gateway to our town. So, in terms of specific action items, I think these are all things that we could work towards. But having a direct line of communication with the North Beach Association that's already still active and has a proven track record of success in the area, if we could lend our resources and have a direct line of communication with the city, I think that would help improve the process.
So with Pure Pride, and Director Riley, am I right that they have an MOU with the city?
That's correct.
Then that's why we have someone from BPR sit on the board?
That's correct.
Okay, so that could be something discussed with if you want, you know, if the North Beach Association is interested in something like that, having an MOU with the city where one of us is sitting on the board.
But I think the real focus is forming a subcommittee to work with them
Okay.
on a more long-term basis than just simply having someone sort of sit in on meetings.
Okay.
So, knowing that our subcommittees are formed to achieve a goal, what is the goal that subcommittee is working toward? I agree that this is really a valuable
So
partnership.
the goal would be to develop a work plan for enhancing North Beach
Okay,
with the North Beach Association.
so that could even itself
Mhm.
just be
Sure.
a work plan item. I think. I mean, like, I like the vague one, and, you know, to Commissioner Grace's point, downtown, it could be strengthened more, this, that, and the other. I would love to see more people come and talk with us and be able to do something like that. So I think the North Beach Association for coming and talking with us. I think right now, I don't know, my personal opinion, if we made something more specific. Like I said, we didn't finish a whole lot on our work plan last year. I would like to have something that we can tangibly cross off our list. I don't know if you'd be comfortable with making a motion like that. Whatever it was that you just said.
So let's make a motion.
Yeah,
And also you mentioned the DDA, I had reached out to them
yeah,
because of what Del Mar looks like.
Right.
I realized, I was told that they were in charge of
Right.
the beautification down there.
no,
And I really think that needs to be touched on too.
Right.
So if we could, I don't know, if you want to just do North Beach,
maybe we could do North Beach and then a second subcommittee or second work plan item for, well, but see, beautification, that's more, it's.
All right, so quick question here. The item is for strengthen partnerships with community organizations,
right,
such as the North Beach Community Organization. So the way that I see this is it's not just limited to North Beach. We could strengthen the relationship with many
right.
local organizations.
Yeah.
So I would like to see if I have a second to move to adopt it as is. I think it's, fairly straightforward. Do we have
So
any?
do you want to, that's the motion then?
Yes, to adopt for it.
Then I would second it.
Okay,
Wait.
great. So we have a second. All in favor?
No,
Okay.
No,
it's
So-
not specific enough.
I'm on board with that too. I want something more specific. I want to do it.
Well, okay, so let's say, we're gonna take the roll call and then
Sorry,
we
I
can
went out of
have
order. Discussion.
okay, so unless there's a,
How would it be made more specific? What was your proposal?
How are we strengthening the relationships? What are we doing? So add on, strengthen partnerships with community organizations such as the North Beach Community Organization by appointing certain commissioners to outreach and liaison with those.
okay, you wanna do a substitute motion?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, no, it was already seconded, so we can't.
Okay, so hang on one second. You have a motion and
Yeah, we have
a
a
second.
We didn't, yeah, we didn't.
So-
You
so we're
cannot
gonna
vote on that item. If there's discussion on the item, you can do that, or you can take a substitute motion right now.
Okay, so is there a substitute motion?
Yes.
Okay,
I motion to add to the work plan, strengthen partnerships with community organizations such as the North Beach Community Organization or Association, we'll get the wording correct, by appointing commissioner liaisons with participating organizations and furthering their goals.
okay, so do we have a second on that?
Can I ask questions about that?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Sorry, that was long-winded.
Yeah, yes, you can clarify it.
Thank you. I would like to clarify, because I think this is a really powerful partnership, and I want to make sure that we're doing this in a way that is going to be approved and successful. So I want to clarify, we are proposing something similar to Commissioner Grace's participation with Pure Pride. So we are looking to appoint a commissioner from Beaches, Parks, and Recreation to partner on a regular basis with the North Beach Community Organization to increase communication, or to, what are we?
Coordination is part of it, but I also think there needs to be a subcommittee aspect to it, that it's not simply just the commissioner sitting in and reporting back to this commission. It's this commission assisting the North Beach Association as boots on the ground to enhance the area.
So I liked your first one, and I think that it can be split into two, what we said a while ago. Sorry, everyone, I know we're backtracking. When you said strengthen the partnership with the North Beach community.
Work plan
and create a work
and
plan.
execute on that work plan.
Yes, I liked that one. And then we can separate it and add a second item that is strengthening the BPR Commission relationships with
community organizations.
organizations throughout town in order to increase communication and help further their goals.
So you made a motion,
I did,
and,
and we had discussion.
okay, so,
Are you modifying your motion now based on the discussion?
I am modifying my
Okay.
motion, because I don't want you to make that.
Okay, so we'll do,
Hold on, I'm gonna modify my motion.
no more questions.
I have a lot of questions, this is my purview as a commissioner, is to ask the questions that I need and I
Okay,
will.
can you ask all your questions now so we can?
No, I reserve right to ask questions whenever they come up, and that's per the bylaws.
Okay. So, I make a motion to add to the work plan, a committee to strengthen partnerships with community organizations. Sorry, I'm thinking. In order to increase communication between the BPR Commission and these organizations, sorry, this is not great, in order to help support them in their goals.
Can I make a substitute?
Is that?
Yes, you can make a substitute on the substitute. The substitute motion doesn't have a second yet, so right now it needs a second.
I'll second the substitute.
I would like to substitute the substitute motion and say that I would like to make a motion to create a partnership work plan with the North Beach Community Organization to increase communication and partnership between the Beaches Parks and Recreation Commission and the North Beach Community Organization.
Can we have some,
You have questions? Absolutely.
can
Yes.
we adjust the language on that?
Yes.
To say, come up with a work plan
Yes.
and execute on that work plan
Yes. Can I amend
and
my?
form a subcommittee.
You may accept a friendly
Friendly.
amendment by Commissioner Conlon.
I would like to accept
Reword
a
that
friendly
again.
amendment from Commissioner Khan to form a subcommittee to create and execute upon a work plan with, et cetera, et
Okay,
cetera.
great, so I second that.
Quick question, that's only for North Beach then?
For this one, yes.
We can, and then we can do a second one for everybody.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstains or nays? Okay, passes anonymously. Great, thank you. Would anyone like to recommend that we do something similar under umbrella for all
Yeah.
organizations?
Sherry, how would you like to see the wording on that? Because I watched it.
Honestly, I like the 6-month suggestion. Let's see how this works with North Beach.
Okay.
And if we see that it's a value, and that we can come back with something substantial, but it's like, you know.
Check off the list.
Right,
Okay.
let's reevaluate maybe and say, can we extend this to some other organizations?
If I may offer, I think this commission might not be aware about the number of partnerships we have. So when you talk about strengthening partnerships, that is very broad. And there's a lot of community organizations that we work with. So would the commission, like staff, provide kind of a listing of all those organizations?
Please.
I think you're not realizing all the ones that are in our purview. So I will provide that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Any discussion on 4C? Commissioner Grace?
I just wanted to maybe mention how this came about. I did a ride-along with the RSVP's Retired Senior Volunteer Program and kind of watched what they did and how they worked. A lot of what they're required to do is write tickets in the parking lots, and I was watching how they did that, and it was very cumbersome for them to handle two different ways to park. So they have to have two different devices. They have to check one, they have to check the other, and it was very time consuming. I don't know how that came about, why there's two. I think that's something we need to delve into a little bit more. I was told that this would go through Beach Parks and Rec, so this is why I put it on there. And Samantha can correct me if I'm wrong. And the second part of it was when they were trying to write the tickets, you could not see the numbers on the parking spaces on some of them at all. You had to count backwards and to find the space number. So it's not only difficult for them, but it's difficult for people that are trying to pay for parking.
Right.
And if they don't see a number, they may think that they're not supposed to pay, right? And then they end up getting a ticket, right? So if it is under the purview of Beach Parks and Recs, I would like to find a way of being able to make those numbers a little brighter. And look at the 2 parking system.
I was gonna say, Samantha, what is the frequency of maintenance? And I'm guessing that's under Public Works, not you.
Yes.
Do we know? Because like, if it is under us, but you're not out there painting. Or maybe
that does sound
I don't know.
That does sound fun. It is not me. I can find out that information. If
Okay.
the concern from Commissioner Grace is, one of the concerns is the painted numbers, let me handle that. I don't think that needs to be a work plan item for you guys. I don't see how the commission would work on that. Let me just take that item and give a follow-up to the status of that, and what their maintenance cycle is on that, or how often they do it. As for the other 2 methods of payment, is this the passport system that you're?
Passport, and then there's the box.
The
that you
boxes,
can-
and then there's meters, right? There's actually.
And there's meters, but the meters are
Meters,
easy
yeah.
to see because they just turn red.
Right.
The other ones, you have to check one app, and then if it says they didn't park, you have to check the other app to see if they parked, right?
Yeah, this is actually never come to the commission, at least in my time here. The passport system is a relatively new add-on, added in, I want to say 2020, 2021. And that was actually implemented through the Economic Development Group, or officer at the time, and didn't get passed through the commission. But I received feedback in my office that it was confusing at times. So I'd be happy to provide an update and kind of historical overview of why that system was put into place versus the credit card machines. I've heard a couple of different stories. I don't know what is accurate and what's not, but I can dig in a little deeper and provide that update. But if you want to put it on the work plan because you want to have a public update on it, again, it's never come to the commission, but it's in your guys'.
I mean, if there's nothing that we can physically do, like it sounds like it's something that it might be something that I would have agendized then at the end of the meeting to come back with.
Yeah, potentially. Let me find out some more information and I'll connect with you, Sherry.
So, do we leave it on here for now, or?
Just have it Wednesdays?
What would you like?
I don't want to lose sight of it because it was very important to them. So, if we can leave it on there as something to follow up with, and maybe it's one of those we cross off that it's done, right? So that's something we can show that there was some action taken on it. So I would say if we could leave it on there, I would.
So I have a question about things like that. So I know that we also made a motion to agendize the Sandcastles First Loan discussion as well. So items like that we do want to discuss as a commission, does that need to be on our work plan? Or could we motion to agendize and then still address something?
Yeah, they're black and white, it needs to be on your work plan. That's been the direction from council. If it's not on your work plan or they don't send it to you directly, then there is not a single body that should be hearing it. I do know that things have come up that commissioners want to hear more about through public comments, and you guys have the right to put that on your agenda. It's just difficult to dedicate staff time if it's not something that is within the work plan.
Okay.
So you could certainly hear a quick presentation or an update or something from somebody else.
Okay, that's good to know, because I would like to add something about Sandcastles First Loan. I have an agenda. So, yeah.
So I would make the motion to add 4C to the work plan.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? or abstain? Okay, passes unanimously.
Okay.
Before we move on to the next agenda item, did we ever add a subcommittee to 1A?
It has to be approved first.
Okay.
The council has to approve this, and then once we have the approved plan, we can do that. I do then, in the spirit, I want to add something about St. Castles for Sloan in our work plan. I make a motion to add, exploring signage and education for St. Castles for Sloan.
Second? Okay,
I'm sorry, for what?
St. Castles for Sloan, that was the
Oh.
woman that came and spoke.
Got it.
About minis.
Yeah.
okay, so I second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstain or nay? Okay, passes unanimously.
Got a work plan.
Before we move on, Samantha, did you say that it would help council if we mentioned that we want to form a subcommittee?
Yeah, and I think you do want to for the coastal one, and I have it in the North Beach Community Association one.
Okay, so we do have it mentioned there.
Yes.
Okay, and then I would, go ahead. I would like to make a friendly amendment to the friendly amendment to change the language for the North Beach to establish a subcommittee to work with the North Beach Community Association to develop a work plan to enhance North Beach. And to your point, Commissioner, enhance North Beach that can be modeled to work with other community organizations and locations in San Clemente.
Like that.
Are we allowed to do that friendly amendment?
So we'll
Friendly
just-
amendment.
well, I think we'll vote on it, so do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Yeah, the other option, the other option you can do is just ensure that you can empower the chair and the vice chair to finalize the work plan with staff to make sure it reads correctly.
Okay, I'll send that language.
Why don't you do that, and
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, great,
thank you.
all right.
Okay, now we have a.
So fellow commissioners, anything else that we'd like to add?
Just on the subcommittee point, so it sounds like we have one for community partnership, the sand. Do we want to create, just trying to group other ones, I think budget subcommittee for the top two under the staff proposed items, and then a park design subcommittee for the last three. Might make sense. And I don't know if it makes sense to try to get all that taken care of now so that we can come back and put people on committees next time.
Or do we add that in when we work on the wording to send to council?
So I would like to recommend, Commissioner, that you send me and Vice Chair the exact wording and subcommittees that you want, and we will advocate for that.
Or do we just cover
Or
ourselves
do we just do
and
that?
say, Samantha, like, part of our work plan is to create subcommittees? for all
Yeah,
of
that
us?
will go.
Okay, just an overall blanket.
Meeting every once every 2 months isn't enough to get this
Okay.
done, so.
All right, so I make a motion to add to the work plan the establishment of subcommittees for all items on the work plan.
Okay, you have a second? Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstaining or nay? Okay, passes. Great.
Get it, guys.
All right, congratulations. So next up, we have new business 6A, Aquatics Partnership Review.
Okay, let me transition here, my apologies, okay. We are looking at a policy, and actually Carrie Swartz is here, she's our aquatic supervisor, and she's here to give a oral update on the aquatics partnership policy. We also have a subcommittee that can further opine and give their feedback on this process. And the goal here this evening for our new commissioners is to review what is a current process that we follow. There's never been a formal policy within our policies and procedures for aquatics partnerships. We just about 2 years ago established a youth sports, which is specific to fields. And youth sports for fields are dramatically different from aquatics. They just are completely different in nature. So the commission, along with staff, requested that we look at aquatics partnerships separately and formalize the process and procedure and the requirements it would take to become a partner. So I'm going to send it over to Carrie, I think she's here, who can summarize the policy as it came together. And then again, you have a subcommittee that can give an update on their process, and then you do have some speaker cards as well.
Good evening. So like Samantha said, the purpose of the update is to clarify and modernize the existing youth aquatic partnership policy so that it closer aligns with the updated sports policy and so that it can reduce reliance on exceptions granted by Commission and Council. Some of the key policy clarification and changes in the draft. The policy now clearly defines competitive versus recreational programming. It states that only competitive aquatic sports programs are eligible for partnership, and recreational programs or feeder programs are not eligible for partnership designation. That's always been a practice, but it was not clearly defined. The biggest change is the addition of a third tier. Our current partnership policy has 2 tiers, a senior partnership with a 60% discount and a junior partnership with a 40% discount. The creation of that tier 2, that middle tier, bridges the gap so that it helps reduce the financial strain for organizations that narrowly miss that top tier. So instead of going from a 60% discount all the way down to a 40% discount, they would now land in a 55% discount. The addition, one of the changes with the addition of a player fee requirement was added. This aligns or mirrors the sports policy, so there would now be a required fee per participant of $5 annually, so once a year. It removed any of the inapplicable sports requirements that didn't closely align with aquatics. So for example, there was a requirement for a volunteer coach. That's not typical for aquatic sports. Aquatic sports have paid coaches, so that was removed. The 50% play rule was removed due to the competitive programming requirement in the new draft. And in-city tournaments and competition requirement that's applicable for sports was removed for aquatics, as most aquatic competitions require travel. The roster submission had some clarification, so now a minimum annual participation of 3 months or a full quarter per calendar year is required to be added as a participant and eligible towards partnership. So for example, I'm going to pick on the swim team. Instead of just a 3-month period, for summer they take a 2-month break, or a 2-week break. So if a participant was enrolled for 8 weeks, that would qualify as them being on the roster. A late payment fee was added. This also mirrors the updated sports policy. So it states that if an organization is 15 days late, they incur a 10% late fee. And if they are 30 or more days late, they lose the discount and they're charged the full non-partnered rate until the account is current. The new policy designates in-water minimums for participants. It now applies to all aquatic sports, not just competitive swim. So current practice is competitive swim is required to have 3 participants for short course lanes and 6 participants, a minimum of 6 participants in long course lanes. That's now been modified, so now water polo, diving, or synchronized swimming would have similar participant requirements for the space they're using that would help with allocations. Our 3-strike violation policy was updated to closer align with the new updated sports policy that now states that the 3rd violation includes a minimum of a 10% reduction in allocated time for the following quarter, up to a possible revocation of partnership. And the term of the partnership has been edited, so it now is a 1-year term. Our current existing partnership with the senior and junior has a 3-year term for senior partnership and a 2-year term for junior partnership. So moving to a 1-year term that may be extended in 1-year increments, not to extend 5 years. This would allow a little bit more flexibility. So if you have an organization that maybe just missed that top tier and wants to reapply, now they're only locked into a 1-year agreement and they can reapply the next year, or if they're happy with their tier designation, pending they turn in their rosters annually and apply, at the authority of commission and council, you guys can just choose to extend them another year, and they'll do that each year up to the 5th year. The other change in the new policy is the definitions section now aligns with aquatic context, and within that, we've clarified some terms. So for example, a resident, or what qualifies as a resident, now includes active duty military and dependents that live on base would be considered a resident. That's kind of a summary of the updates. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, so our first speaker is Mark Matheson.
Good evening, and thanks for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Mark Matheson. I serve as the president of the San Clemente Aquatics team, or SCAT. I've got 4 kids in the program. SCAT has been at the heart of San Clemente Aquatics for over 50 years. It has been a primary user and key contributor to the city's swim facilities early on, at Ole Hansen during the 70s, to current aquatic center at Hermosa. It has been a great partner in the continued upkeep of the facility, recently having donated a $100,000 state-of-the-art scoreboard to the facility that I know is being used for aquatic movie nights and sporting events. It hosts large events at Hermosa, bringing thousands of swimmers and spectators to the center and to the city. I raise these accolades because I can't really think of an organization that's more worthy of a Tier 1 relationship with the city, which brings me to my first comment. We are concerned with the continuation of the residency requirement, especially at the 90% threshold level. We believe this may serve to punish SCAT for its success in drawing swimmers from other neighboring clubs, something it has no control over, but do nothing to really protect resident usage or access to the facility. We think that attracting non-resident swimmers to San Clemente is a positive thing, not a negative thing. It is beneficial to improve the club, to make it more competitive, and while at the same time beneficial to the city with increased fees and for the facility and utilization of city businesses. Furthermore, SCAT has little control over the residency of its applicants. It already markets exclusively to San Clemente. When a non-resident joins, it does not displace a resident. I feel like I should repeat that. A non-resident does not displace a resident. Both are equally welcome. SCAT has the membership numbers and longevity with the city for a Tier 1 partnership. But in order to achieve the 90% residency threshold, which is a high number, it would need to cut some of its current non-resident swimmers, and it would need to turn away certain non-resident applicants. This does not seem like a good result for either the club or for the city. We believe that there are less arbitrary safeguards that can be taken if we have to stick to a percentage, and this, by the way, we received just the other day, so I haven't been able to do a lot of research, but my understanding is clubs like Irvine require 80% residency threshold. But less arbitrary safeguards, in my opinion, and the club's opinion would be, if there is in fact a capacity issue, we could then give residents priority. We could lower fees for residents to make it more attractive to them. We could give them an early application process to make sure they have priority. But at minimum, we would love to have a seat at the table to discuss some of these things. By the way, my clock didn't start, so let me know when my time is up.
You're probably there.
Am I already there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and rest there. Thank you.
Great. Next up, we have Amanda Quintanilla.
I decided to speak because hearing Commissioner Haskins talk about the importance of supporting the aquatics is just so important. I learned, as a San Clemente resident of over 50 years, I learned from Van, who taught at the Ole Hansen Beach Club, and many old-time people that are here. do recognize that name, and I think it's really important that we support the aquatics in our community. And the previous speaker spoke about 90% residency, and I think that is important to give the opportunity for our residents, because that sometimes is the only time that they're able to swim, and I think that's really important. I have also a child who went through, several swimming and through Canes swimming and swimming with the late Byron Redenbach, and I think that was very important, and Rod many years ago, so I think it's really important to support the aquatics and have that partnership. And I really didn't have that much time to review this, but maybe just looking into the 90%. But I think it's important to help our residents. But I do understand that the military and who live on base, I think that's really important to be inclusive because they're serving our country, so I really applaud that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sandy Coe.
So a little bit of clarification. Our club actually started in 1966. We became a nonprofit in 1974. In fact, Commissioner Haskins' mother's signature is on our nonprofit application. So we do have a huge and very long standing in this community. I'd like to address including senior partners as community liaisons in the discussion when making policy changes to the partnership agreements that we currently hold, when the policies change. And they do affect our operations there at the pool. I am the varsity swim coach for boys at San Clemente High School. I've been involved with the club for over 50 years. We are the prime organization for training not only our pool lifeguards, but also all of our beach lifeguards, for many of them. In addressing the support for facility fees, no other programming charges residents a $5 additional use tax. These would include the master swimming, the junior lifeguard prep, the summer water polo programming. Only non-residents pay an additional use fee, and that is without prejudice. As a senior partner, we did sign a check that was used to open and support the facility of $40,000. We've just recently signed another close to $100,000 to support the facility at the San Clemente Aquatics Center. It's the precedence of setting a use tax, which is I'm concerned that will continue to be able to charge fees on top of one and then another that is concerning most to me. The team has shown more than being a senior partner, and we do not have any other access to public facilities in the South Orange County area. So this is our only facility that we can grow and claim membership for. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Edward Queskin.
Well, I'm becoming a kind of a gadfly on this money thing. First of all, I want to say I support the people who operate this program. They've done a phenomenal job for a long, long time, and I would support all of their comments and recommendations relative to the qualifications in terms of participation and so forth and so on. What I'm concerned with is you have my latest reconciliation with our little friends in finance regarding expenditures, and I want to make sure that our friends that are connected with this swim program don't get caught between a rock and a hard place in terms of the aquatics, which is under Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Department. It is the budget currently is $1,456,260,000. And we went a little bit over in terms of our expenditure over that budget. We spent $1,581,304, which is about an 8.5% over the budget. Now, I'm not going to squabble about that. I think, though, that we need to pay attention to those kinds of metrics and make sure that if we want to subsidize or support the program, which I would strongly recommend if that's necessary. I don't know what the revenue side is on this program. I only have the expenditure side from the finance department. That we make it a policy to support it as part of our budget discussions, if that's indeed the case. Once again, we're about 9% over budget in terms of the expenditures for the aquatics program. It's about $125,000. I don't know what the revenue side is, so maybe this is a moot point, but I just want to make sure that the city acknowledges this program and what it's meant to this community and to the people that are involved in it, and that we support the operation of this program and this swimming, now that we have a state-of-the-art facility up in Vista Hermosa. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, that is it for public comment. Now we'll open it up for discussion. Any comments or questions? Well, I would like to propose that we make some amendments. The first amendment would be to lower the $5 annual participant fee to $4. That'll be a 20% reduction. And my other amendments, I would like to propose that we lower Tier 1 from 90% to 85%, and we lower Tier 2 from 85% to 80%. I think this gives our friends here a better chance of succeeding here.
Can I clarify, so we're looking at, so under your proposal, Tier 1 would be at 85,
Yes.
Tier 2 would be at 80, and we'd have 70.
Correct, yeah, just keep Tier 3 as is.
I'd be curious, given, am I allowed to ask?
Yes.
Okay. I'd be curious, given the balance between the revenue side of things and the cost of the partnerships, I think the addition of the tier there does allow more people to qualify for some sort of a tiered partnership. I'd be curious to see what fiscal impact these changes would have on the percentages and then also on the overall revenue, and what our other policies say. Director Whaley, do we know for our other policies that charge a participant fee, is there a reduced fee for a resident and then a non-resident fee that's different, or what options exist with the participant fees?
The comment concerning master swim and junior lifeguards classes and things like that, those are not rentals. The partner groups rent the pool space. They're provided a substantial discount in their hourly lane rental. And part of that, in order to, that's what we're reviewing today, part of that is they have to qualify for a partnership and they have to maintain a minimum percentage of San Clemente residents. The classes like Masters and Junior Lifeguard Swim and swim lessons, those are not partner groups, those are contractual agreements between the city and that independent contractor. The city gets 30% automatically of their revenue. Non-residents are charged a $3 fee. Flat fee. This fee is not intended to go towards specifically residents or specifically non-residents. It's intended to be a swimmer fee, essentially, and I think we've talked about this on the subcommittee. We want to make sure that rosters, and we've seen over several years that there's a kind of a frenzy to make sure that clubs are meeting the minimum number of 300, that they're meeting the minimum percentage of 90%. And we've seen some discrepancies within rosters over time. So this fee was established as part of the field fee as well, and it was at $5 for fields also. So I think it's a hard comparison to say non-residents pay $3 for classes, and they're paying, these folks are paying $5 to the club, which then the club is essentially paying us, I suppose, if they decide to pass on that $5 to their user. Does that answer your question?
In a sense, I think I'm trying to get an understanding of how precedented or not precedented it is to charge this fee.
Well, you guys were on the subcommittee, so we discussed this as part of this conversation.
I'm mostly asking so that we can all understand the rationale for the charge.
It's to ensure that we're not getting inflated rosters, that we're not getting folks that really only swam for a month, or played water polo for a month, or dove for a month. This is not specific, it's just all in general that there's players that are not being added to rosters that didn't really participate in the program for the duration of time required. Yes, it is a new fee addition. I'll say that our field partners had no issues paying it. They've turned in their rosters on time, and they've committed to the new policy since it's been adopted. But I do understand the different concerns that have been raised. So that's really the nexus behind it. And I know on the field side, a fee like this is very common in other organizations as well for their partner groups.
I have a follow-up question to address the concern about potentially raising the fee. How often do you raise the fees for things like your field partnerships?
So that's a big question, only because there's tentacles to that. So we just reviewed our field partnerships, and discounts have not been addressed at all. And that we're not looking at fees tonight. The one fee is that player fee or the swimmer fee. The use fees, the rental fees, have not been looked at in over 20 years. And that is a work plan item. That's a project that the department's been working on for over a year. And to the other public comment concerning revenue and expenditures, fees will be increased in the future. The city cannot maintain its pools and its facilities at the rate that is requested and needed for both health and safety reasons, operating within the existing revenue stream. So that will come later. Discounts will also be a part of that conversation within the fee study. So right now, there's different discounts that apply to the different partnerships. It's a 60% discount off of rentals for senior, 50% for junior. Those can also be reviewed through the fee study as well.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
I think since we have a work plan item to do the fee study for the beaches, parks, and rec facility, perhaps we could include looking at that $5 fee as part of that, and not include it as part of the policy today. And then I just wanted to mention I did support the slight reduction in the percentage of residents from 90 to 85%, realizing that a lot of these, local cities don't have programs like this, and those swimmers that end up in our program end up on the beach at T Street and Lifeguard Tower, and they end up, it really does add value to the city, even though technically they're not a San Clemente City resident. So that would be my take on that, is to hold off on the $5 fee and to consider the 85% threshold.
And also the 80% too? Bump in tier 2 down, right?
Yes.
Two questions. One is for the field. Are there similar tiers for the field partnerships?
Yes, this was discussed quite a bit for fields. It was maintained at 90% for tier 1 residency, and so it kind of went down from there. They actually have I think they have a 4th tier as well within fields. But the 85% tier 2 was suggested because we've had partner groups that have narrowly missed that 90%. It still provides a discount, at a different rate than what would be junior versus senior partnership. So that's why it was suggested. From the staff perspective, whatever the commission feels like is the right direction, we stand at your discretion. Do keep in mind, though, that one of the messages that we want to make sure we're reiterating, that the partner groups get a substantial subsidy. And as a city, we exist to serve our residents first. So when we start adding more non-residents into those numbers, now we're also serving non-residents at a subsidy at the cost of residents, essentially. So you have to weigh that and balance it. And I know there's a lot of different dynamics that feed into the success of programming like water polo or swimming versus soccer and baseball. There's different dynamics. But I think that, and I want to make sure you guys are all aware of that, we're looking at serving the subsidy that serves residents centric. That needs to be the ultimate goal.
Right.
Sorry, one other quick question. How many partnerships are there that are potentially affected by this? Do you have dozens of partnerships? Is there just a handful?
Just a handful. Right now, we have 2 active aquatic partners. They're both senior partners. The one is the San Clemente Aquatics team, and the second is the San Clemente Water Polo Club. And I'll be quite frank, we don't have a lot of pool space to expand partnerships. Both of our senior partners are fantastic organizations that contribute an abundance of opportunities for our youth swimmers and water polo players in town. So it would be hard to find space in our pool for another partnership, really. And Carrie mentioned it, the only other one that could find a space would potentially be diving or kind of a synchronized swimming or something, but the volume of participants is really not there compared to swimming and water polo.
I don't know if the commission would be comfortable, because I would propose for tier 1, instead of dropping down to 85, just dropping down to 88%. Because again, like to 88%, keep tier 2 at 85 and tier 3 at 70, because again, to Samantha's point, we want residents, right? I understand, I swim for SCAD, I understand other people coming in, I understand that it's a feeder, this, that, and the other. I also know that we're here for the best interest of San Clemente residents, right? So if there's a way that the clubs can give discounts to members, right? Like I work for a nonprofit, our members get discounts for certain things. A resident discount in order to hit that 88, because like we looked at the numbers and they are just very narrowly missing it, very narrowly. And I think 88 would be a fair threshold.
If I remember correctly from the data table, which it's been a while since I looked at that data table, I do believe that 88 would allow for more people to make it into that tier 1, because we did have several, I believe at 89, and please don't quote me on that, because
You're correct, and that's been really the challenge, that and SCAT is represented this evening, and they will tell you they just narrowly missed it. It was like 89.8 or something. And that happened a couple of years in a row, so there were exceptions that needed to be made, which is why this policy was brought back. Instead of continuing to make exceptions, maybe we look at the policy and how it's processed. So.
And if I also remember correctly from that data, 85 would let pretty much everybody in. So if we had some distinguishing mark, I think an 88 is a little bit more realistic given the historical numbers that we were provided. I think it would allow more people to get into that tier 1 and still maintain that value on the residency.
I think we saw back to 2019 in the data, and it was just...
Okay, so how about we just split it down the middle, 87.5, right?
I don't think that's necessary.
That's fair, right?
I have a question for staff. There's a cutoff where you're requiring a minimum of 300 participants?
Yes, they have to have 300 participants.
And what's the rationale for that?
That's the way it's always been. It's been that way for a very long time. That applies for field groups as well. That dates back for at least 10 years or more.
If they had less participants but a higher percentage of San Clemente residents, would that be better for the city? I mean, I mean, we're not
So
excluding any
the other,
residents.
the other formula that, or the other factor you have to keep in mind here, the tier that the organization is at also impacts their allocation. Pools are impacted. We don't have, believe it or not, we don't have enough pools. We need more pool space. We know that. All of our swimmers, our youth swimmers are all swimming after school, and we only have so many lanes. So the more you allow additional organizations to get to a higher tier or a higher status, the less and less pool space each of those groups are going to get. So, for example, we have 2 senior partners for the first time this year. We're having to split the allocations equally, where our one senior partner that we had for a long time would have gotten a kind of a lead on the allocations, but now that we have 2, they're splitting that. So that can affect their allocations as well. So it's not just about total participants in the residency, it also impacts the allocation process for those top tier organizations.
I understand. I just thought maybe if we decrease it by just a few, it makes it easier to reach the percentage, and they're still serving a huge number of swimmers.
I think it would be, if you were to ask staff, where do we go from here? I think the 88% is a very fair compromise. That helps our existing organizations keep pace, because they very narrowly missed 90%, but they've been over 88%. So I think that is a fair compromise at this point.
You want to make a motion?
No, I think somebody else could probably articulate it better.
I would love to make a motion. I would like to make a motion to amend the aquatics partnership policy to have at tier 1, an 88% participant residency, rate, and for tier 2 to maintain at 85% and tier 3 to maintain at 70%.
I second.
You want to look at the fee?
My motion is only about
Okay.
the residency rate.
Okay.
So I would like to make a friendly amendment to reduce it to $4 because it's kind of like a new fee. And,
That would be a new amendment.
or a friendly amendment, right?
Could you have the volunteers or add it?
All right, yeah,
I
that's
just
fine.
don't want mine to
Okay.
die because,
Okay.
like, if that goes down, you know.
Okay, so how about this? I'll make a substitute, or well, we already seconded it.
You have to vote, you can make a second amendment
On
on
this
this.
part and then go to the fee, just so we don't, I just don't.
You can bifurcate the motion, that's fine. If you just want to vote on the tiers alone and then address the fees later, that's fine.
I just don't want to accidentally for us to be trying to do something good. and take
Okay,
the whole thing.
so we'll call the question. Just to confirm, that is to change tier 1 from 90% to 88% and to keep tier 2 and 3 as is. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstain or nay? Okay, passes anonymously.
And just for the record, that was a motion by Alyssa and a second by
Me.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to reduce the proposed player fee from $5 to $4. Do I have a second? We gotta help our residents out a little bit.
So just to clarify, it's not clear to me, that's every time they go to the pool, they
No, it's an annual fee.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
extremely low.
So
Is this-
since it's a new fee and they're asking for a discount, that's why, I want to compromise a little bit.
Is the pool actually self-supporting revenue?
It is not.
And how much, but the city can afford within their budget to easily support it at its current usage?
The pool is subsidized by the general fund.
Yeah.
This is the bottom line. I don't have the data off the top of my head. But
But
no,
it's not
the
suffering.
expenses outpace the revenue.
Yeah. Because it just seems to me if we lower it, I don't know how much that affects the revenue for the pool and whether that makes a difference or whether it's a trivial reduction.
Yeah, so it would actually be increasing from 0. So from 0, instead of from 0 to 5, it'd go from 0 to 4.
I see. Okay. All right. Thanks for
I
clarifying.
second that Motion.
Okay, great. So this is just to clarify, to reduce the proposed annual participant fee from $5, reduce it to $4. So all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No, no.
We're gonna have to do a roll call.
Okay, roll call. Okay, great. So, Commissioner Delegoski,
Yes.
okay? Vice Chair Garcia,
No.
Commissioner Grace,
No.
Commissioner Haskins,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson is yes, Commissioner Khan,
No.
Commissioner McCain,
No.
Commissioner Schmidt is absent, and Commissioner Van Noort.
No.
Okay. So, doesn't look like it passed.
That pass.
Sorry, Mr. Director, I wasn't keeping
Yeah, so that motion fails 3 to 5.
3 to 5, okay, great. Well, I would like to make a motion here that we reduce the fee from $5 to $0.
Because you were, I think if you want to address the fee again, it's somebody that's going to have to vote within the dissenting vote to make that motion. If you're still stuck on the fee.
Okay, out of good faith, I'll withdraw my motion. Yes. So, so it looks like we're ready for 7A, communications?
Are we able to vote to pass the policy, or is that not?
That's the last piece, yes.
Yeah.
So you can make.
Sorry, I was excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you're good. So yes, it reduced from 90 to 80. Okay, great.
So with those motions to amend it, I motion to pass the policy with the amendments.
Second.
Wait, did we vote on that?
We voted on the reduction, yeah. So I just made a motion to pass the policy with those reductions.
No, the reduction in fee didn't pass, it failed.
To clarify, I believe.
No, with the 88%.
Yes, that passed.
Yes,
Yeah.
so
So move forward with
yeah,
that, yeah.
No, like, it's good.
We didn't motion to pass the policy.
So what you're looking for, I think Vice Chair Garcia is making a motion to recommend the City Council review and approve the policy as proposed with an amendment to lower the Tier 1 to 88%.
Great.
That would be your motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any abstains or noes? Okay, passes and awesome. Thank you. Okay, 7A, communications.
Hang on, sorry.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of things. You're doing a great job.
I don't have any updates for you.
No, you did
It's
say
been an excellent meeting, you guys.
No, perfect. Okay, so subcommittee reports, aquatics partnership policy.
We just did it.
Perfect. Thank you. Special events subcommittee.
So I have a question about that, Director Whitley, because it didn't go anywhere. Can we remove that committee? Commissioner Grace, if you're okay with that? We didn't do anything with it?
Yeah, it's not on your work plan for next year.
Oh, great,
so it
okay,
would come
then
off.
we're done. Okay, nothing to report.
All right. Items from commissioners. Pure Pride, Commissioner Grace.
There was a survey that went out. I don't know if everybody received it, but if you did, please reply back, because that will be what we'll be working on in the future. It'll help us get some guidance on what the community is looking for. And secondly, there is a fundraiser on Thursday, October 2nd at the Fisherman Restaurant, and it's a 5-course dine and wine pairing. And I would it's a really nice evening, so if you could go on their website on Pure Pride and join us, that would be awesome.
Great, thank you so much. And commissioners, any proposed agenda items?
I have a motion. Motion to form the North Beach Subcommittee now.
That has to be approved by council.
Does it?
We do.
have to get a work.
Yeah, it needs to go to council
We have
first.
to do, we can do it at the next meeting.
Okay. So we can't form any subcommittees.
That's why we
It
made
has
the
to be
motion.
approved first by the council and then.
That's why we made the motion with the work plan to form the committees.
What about an ad hoc subcommittee? So that we don't have to wait 2 months.
I don't think we're allowed to work on something on the work plan, correct me if I'm wrong, until it's approved.
Is that right?
That's correct, you need to wait until the council approves
All
the
right,
work plan.
we'll wait.
Love the enthusiasm.
Soon enough.
Bring that energy.
Any other proposed agenda items?
I motion to adjourn the meeting to the regular meeting of the BPR Commission on October 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in City Hall Council Chambers.
Okay. Second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Great job, guys.